Things off. CaliTrlolz in the top lane, Porpoise in the jungle, Goldenglue in mid, Nien at 80 carry with Dodo at support, and Coach History Teacher.
It's going to be a good game on the red side. It is Cloud9. Balls in the top lane, high in the jungle. Incarnation in mid, Sneaky on 80 carry, LemonNation on support, and Bubba who is in as the coach.
So, like you said, Jad, is there enough left in the tank? They were able to actually take a pretty convincing game over Team Solo Mid that High seemed quite hyped about in the interview. And are they still carrying that? Because I'm sure Team 8 was taking notes in that as well to not give Cloud9 an inch here.
I love the 6-step process towards redemption for Cloud9. Step 5, beat Team 8. Step 6, world domination. Well,
just keep it going.
Every single one of those steps seems to increase in difficulty. I wonder what the first 4 were. But this one,
the Karma ban.
I guess part of Step 5 starts in picks and bans.
So 2 directed. High gets hit on Nidalee. Karma taken away from LemonNation. And the roundabout bans, Rise, Callista. Maybe see a Rek'Sai in there, something in the jungle for the last ban on the side of Cloud9, depending on what they prefer. The Sivir will not be boosting up any compositions throughout this game. And what is the last ban that Cloud9 thinks is the best?
One of the big things that's been allowing Cloud9 to succeed is just the gotta go fast strategy. They almost pulled out a win against CLG with the Karma, the Talisman of Ascension. You can also add Sivir into that, Orianna. A lot of that stuff is just straight up banned away, immediately just pushing LemonNation onto something a little bit different.
Alistar left up through the pick ban phase as Azir targeted at Goldenglue from Cloud9 decided to be their last pick. He has actually turned up to be very, very strong for Team 8 in the mid lane since the changeover from having Slushy step down for the season.
Yeah, Goldenglue has really been performing quite well. I think it was 5 wins they picked up under Goldenglue, and since they're only 6 on the year, he's just been doing pretty good work for them.
For sure.
This will also probably be CaliTrlolz' final game in the LCS.
Yeah, talked about
wanting
that
to go out on a win
a little bit earlier. Hopefully he can put the team in a spot where he feels comfortable with leaving. That's the end goal for him. A year ago, he was hoping it could be that, and this is his chance to make it so, since it didn't happen in the regular season. Tristana picked up on the side of Team 8. The Alistar was there, but they decide not to go with it. They feel like this is going to be the pick to take away from Sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, so much of this draft phase for Team 8 is just legitimately focused around denial of what Cloud9 has been winning with. As far as Cloud9's strategy, it's not nearly as much denial because it's not like Team 8 has been winning with things. It's somewhat of a strategy you would use in a best of 5 where you just immediately ban away something that has been working for the enemy team. But now Cloud9, they can very easily, with those 2 picks, maintain their Orianna team composition, have a really nice tank ball going on.
Incarnation has had very good success on Orianna lately. An RE play as well. It's pretty clean in the mid lane. We'll see what Team 8 actually has on their side. Definitely taking their time throughout each pick and their bans. Cloud9 known to do that, but they are actually going to grab the Orianna on the side of Team 8 and the Gragas.
It's so targeted right now for Team 8 of literally just trying to deny Cloud9 of anything they've been comfortable on recently. That is now 2 picks and 3 bans against successful champions that Cloud9 has played in the past. Basically, as close to an entire team composition, save for the top laner thus far. And Goldenglue is a pretty good Orianna, so Team 8 can definitely put together a pretty solid team comp with the denial picks. It'll just be a question of their proficiency on the champions that they haven't been playing that much as of late.
Looking at what Goldenglue has played since he's come in, there's been a few games where he's kind of not carried the lane, but he's never really lost the lane for his team. The Varus, the Oris have been good, his Azirs have still been on point, so definitely a consistent factor that Team 8 can turn to in that mid lane. The Orianna should prove very nice with him having good positioning. The Shiv, I figured it'd still get picked up. They have a lot of crowd control for High on that team already, so the Ashe as well, though. Interesting.
Stacking a lot of CC.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting choice by Cloud9. It's all about creating opportunities for them to initiate.
Yeah.
Since the Sivir and Karma was taken away from them, they don't necessarily have as much speed boosts. They're just getting the range stun chained in with the Maokai. Set up for High so he can call the initiation and then still be able to go in with the CC.
Nice setup. Definitely a clear path in what Cloud9's composition wants to do. And protection comp so far here, it seems like, with Goldenglue, the option to carry as well. What are they going with? Bard gets switched over. Still 20 seconds left as Team 8 figuring out that last one.
Whoa.
Shen, Alistar, they finally do go with that across, so they actually put not a lot of damage in with those last 2 picks.
Yeah, those are 2 incredibly low damage choices. Tank top laner, Gragas doesn't bring that much damage out of the jungle. Trist's damage is very instanced. Orianna is also plays a bit like an enabler, but a burst mage later in the game. So teammate will have to be very choosy with how they do their damage. This would set up...
It seems like they're really considering what Cloud9 did in their previous game.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to fight that much, we'll take a team that can take that fight, right?
And be initiated on and try and live through it. But the secondary thing that I want to add is we see Lulu locked in at the very end is because they're a low damage team composition, if Cloud9 can fit in shields, it's going to be very strong for them. And since the Orianna and Karma are taken away from them, they just go for the next down the list of what can be the supportive mid laners. They put Incarnation on Lulu, which isn't his assassin style. You don't see rank 1 EU West montages with mid lane Lulu, but it could still be effective in the right situation, and that's what Incarnation's going to have to do here.
It's going to be his first play on that coming into the summer split. It'll be interesting to see how he then goes back to kind of more of a passive play. It's what he brought out in the mid lane when he started. This might kind of play towards that, just glitter lancing a lane and being able to shield and protect the team as they go hard. Something High has been making the calls to do, and it paid off against Team Solo Mid. We're about to get into this matchup, our first tiebreaker of the North American LCS summer split. The regular season has ended, and now these guys are trying to get their final positions in this first 7th and 8th place.
Yeah. Once again, being able to secure a spot in the LCS. And if you're Cloud9 still having a chance at Worlds, this game definitely matters.
All right, tell us what you think and who is going to claim claim 7th place, I should say. Tweet at LOL Esports and hashtag T8win or hashtag C9win for however you're feeling this one is going to go. We'll tally those up throughout the game. You see the comps on the screen, so you have a little bit more of an idea of how you want to pick. Or you're just saying, I'm a fan of C9, I'm a fan of T8. But we are on the Rift, and we're going to see how this one plays out as they leave it on the Rift as well. Well, Cloud9's wins come out. The fans definitely come out of the woodwork. Silenced a bit this year, but surely behind their team when the time counts, and still there to provide the support. Incarnation and the team make it out of base in a spread out line of scrimmage. It looks like teammate wants to get themselves through with a little bit of power here and safety in numbers.
Yeah, I really wonder if we're going to see lane swaps in this game. The Braum Ashe is a decent lane. Alistar Trist also has a lot of kill pressure. Wonder if Cloud9 would just want to do lane swapping. There was a time where Cloud9 had really good 1v2ing and played the lane swap game tremendously. That hasn't been the case as of late.
Yeah.
And speak to your earlier point about the Cloud9 chance that we're just going down in the audience. It's been such a difficult split for Cloud9. The fact that if the cards fall properly and they could make it into the regional qualifier tournament based on the championship points earned from the spring split and still make it to Worlds, it's like any of the struggles could effectively be erased.
Right.
And they could get a clean slate. It all would start with them being able to take down teammate in this game.
What a road to get here, though. Quite a roller coaster that nobody expected to be on from that get-go. Changes across the team. We heard High saying the honeymoon phase definitely clicked for Cloud9. It was something that allowed them to get out of their slump. We'll see if they can continue that extended stay here throughout the tiebreaker matches. It looks like both teams give each other the space required, but teammate has managed to get a few wards in, and it's going to help this right here. That's a lot of knowledge.
All 5 members of Cloud9 showing at 150. So this doesn't allow teammate the ability to change their lane assignments, but it definitely gives them optimal knowledge of exactly where Cloud9 has been starting. And specifically now, notice how Dodo and Nien are in the bottom lane, and we're doing a lane swap. So we have strong side of the map being the bottom lane for teammate and weak side being for Cloud9. Because Cloud9 started on their strong side, High is in great danger once he rotates to the next part of his jungle. His blue buff, his Gromp, and his Wolves will all be very dangerous camps for him to take, thanks on that knowledge. Also, the fact that Balls last hit that red buff, I don't know if that was intended. Make his early game even worse. But unless they send a lot of help into this jungle, which they're going to be triple jungling, it might end up being
Here's the move from Dodo already. You were talking about towards that weak side. They have to almost keep 3 in numbers down here to make sure that it's a crowd and not just two people that can get picked off.
Cloud9 is compensating the strong side, weak side by triple jungling. Basically, LemonNation is coming as a support for the junglers since the lane swap wasn't going to be met by Ashe on the top side. Interestingly enough,
3v3.
Interestingly enough, we have North American and European LCS do more lane swapping than pretty much any other league in the world. So they have all these different variations for things that end up happening. And this was actually a pretty nice adjustment by Teammate to be able to get that blue.
And the adjustments are rarely seen, but when they are made, it's pretty volatile. LemonNation already forced the flash here. That'll be up around 820. Maybe a rinse and repeat coming in for Teammate.
Yep.
They have control of that side of the jungle now.
Yeah, even with LemonNation going over to try and aid, High is still denied out of that side of his jungle. That will definitely delay his Devour a little bit. And all they get out of that is a bit of free farm for Sneaky. And
a 1v1 lane up top for CaliTrlolz as well now to go against Sneaky. Kill Braum can get there if he even does. Probably stay down here and help Balls get a little bit of farm on the turret. Especially with that red buff. He might even become a bigger target if they know they can get that off of Balls right away. Just out of the lane. So 4 minutes in, good movement by both teams. Keeps the gold very even. But Teammate definitely working off good early pressure. Trying to get something to happen.
Yeah, and speaking of getting things to happen, a lot of this will fall down onto Porpoise on the Gragas. In the last game, or in the 2 games we've seen High play jungle Shyvana, it's been a fairly quick route to at least his Devour. He plays a lot of fighting while stacking up to Sated, which has been a nice way of him to bring Devour into the competitive scene. You see Dodo interrupt the headbutt. But that initial farm point can be dominated by the Gragas, and Cloud9 lanes will have to be very self-sufficient while High is off farming first.
Seems like both of the duo lanes are kind of unsure about an initiation. LemonNation seemed a bit weary to use the Winter's Bite there and apply a few more auto attacks. It's a Maokai Braum. You're not going to do much, so good to stay safe for now.
Yeah. Let me tell you though, Lemon and Balls have done a surprising amount of duo laning together. It seemed like every game back in the summer playoffs of 2014 that they were leaving Sneaky as solo lane. That was back when he was just playing, I think it was Trist and Kog'Maw or Corki, all very level-dependent 80 carries for strength. They were just leaving him in solo lanes.
Yep.
Similar thing here with Ashe, not as level-dependent, but there's definitely a lot of practice the Balls and Lemon have doing double-tank duo lane.
Seem like he's having the most fun, but not a lot of trouble. Sneaky's back and forth. 34 CS right now. Might take a Vorpal Blade to the backside, but actually just baiting in CaliTrlolz. 34 to 40 on
Here's that early action.
The wards have been continued in this area of the jungle here for Teammate since they went in for their first invade, and it's really putting a hurting on High. Back and forth. It's going to. Right now they're pretty even in the jungle, but if he keeps getting pushed out, it's going to start falling behind.
Yeah, High ended up burning his exhaust. Because it was the very CC heavy invade, and because High was jungling on such high health, to his credit, the invade pretty much just ends up burning the exhaust instead of much more.
So this is interesting. Turrets haven't gone down, but they still swap them back. It looks like Cloud9's gets Sneaky out of that top lane, back down with Balls. It doesn't seem like he was having too good of a time, and now there is kill pressure here. Sneaky and Lemon have that ignite to the exhaust on the other side, so they may try something. But right now, the Teammate's going to back.
It's an interesting lane swap because whenever you have an 80 carry solo lane for a little bit, when they swap back, the lanes are always different as far as XP thresholds go. So Sneaky will hit level 6 before Nien in the bottom lane, but CaliTrlolz will hit level 6 before the Maokai. Specifically, if I had to favor a swap, I would favor the swap towards Cloud9, because now that they have the Maokai up with the Shen, they can somewhat neutralize his global threat. Whether he tries to teleport or Shen ult, Maokai has an easy road to interruption. Ashe would have an Ashe arrow, but Maokai is much more easily applicable, and he also has the threat with his own teleport. So even though Balls will be behind about half a level, I still think it's a nice swap. Nice
farming by Goldenglue. It makes sense too. CaliTrlolz calling the shots. You're going to be able to lock that guy down more and more. It'll be harder for Teammate to make any moves cross map. Getting a Shen taunt onto Dodo, headbutting in. Be pretty good for them. It looks like it's only a back. I thought that was actually the TP coming in, but CaliTrlolz just leaving his lane. Arrow hits Dodo. He's locked in place. A level 3, but the Shen taunt does finally come in. He's going to keep that one. LemonNation is there. Balls is now going to TP on the backside. Nien in a very bad spot. The twisted advance, the exhaust, and the takedown still. So they're getting way more than they thought they would come into this lane. And they may even capitalize onto CaliTrlolz. Arcane Smash just misses, and the follow-up is not there. But first blood at 8 minutes.
And Riv, that is exactly why Cloud9 wanted to swap the lanes back in the first place. There was a 2-level advantage for LemonNation over Dodo when that fight started, even though the AD carries were the same. And when Shen ult came in, it could be matched by the teleport from Balls, which eventually netted Cloud9 the first blood. The fact that that went on to Sneaky just makes this swap even better for them, because now Sneaky can try and bully that Trist with an Ash Arrow if they're able to land it next.
Porpoise takes to the top lane to push in the turret, trying to at least waste a bit of XP up there, but only 6 minions behind. Balls is missing a few, but he will catch up. So teammates still thinking off the ball, trying to work the map in their favor while something kind of went bad in the bot lane. Still something they can repair. Long game to go. We just had pretty much an hour-long game. We're only 8 minutes into this one.
Yeah, well, 3 more games.
Yeah,
cannot be more tiebreakers than that, but every single tiebreaker we're going to have has some pretty serious implications. This is the first and foremost
imagine
one, though.
That it's been looming for a while. Cloud9 has to be thinking about those points.
Oh yeah,
it's a big weight. Thinking about that as well, hoping the slump doesn't return. They just lost the first TDK yesterday as well. That kind of probably rattled them pretty good.
Yeah, the emotional roller coaster that Cloud9 has been under this split. First game, bringing Incarnation, then beating TSM, who was the previous split champions. Everything's going to be golden. But then they started off with this big losing streak in the middle of the season. It got worse. Medio stepped down. They brought High out of retirement in a new role. They started with 1-3 in High's first 4 games. And then they lost to TDK, which seemingly could have done it all. But now, like we said, there's a chance they can still maintain those championship points.
Power wash that slate clean. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fans are hoping, but teammate putting up a very good fight.
For those interested, even if they finish 7th with those championship points, it's not guaranteed that they would be placed in the regional qualifier.
That's true.
That's true. It depends on where teams finish in the upcoming playoffs. So a lot of unknowns, but that's out of Cloud9's control. What's in these teams' control is teammate can knock Cloud9 out of Worlds and secure their spot in the LCS next split right now, and Cloud9 can also secure their spot in the split and have a chance at Worlds.
A back and forth. There's another one. Locks him down. The Winter's Bite.
Beautiful
blows
CC
have already
chain.
equaled in. They're going to give that one to High now, giving the kills over to everybody, making sure there's dinner on the table for the whole team.
Really just a beautiful CC chain, and they do it at just the right power spike. Once LemonNation hit level 6, they knew Dodo couldn't have his Alistar ultimate, and that was the easiest gank of High's life right there. He walked in while someone was stunned for 4 seconds and last hit him with a twin bite.
Why can't I get ganks like that?
If you're world-class shot caller, man, just be like, all right, go now. We have the CC.
All right, you got a point there. Looks like Sneaky, good pressure on this turret. Porpoise knows there's someone to the left, but he's trying to provide more security than he is getting back at Cloud9 for doing what they're doing down here. Ward clears, but they are littered in that area, so hopefully I don't think they are clear of any of that danger. CaliTrlolz ultimate has come back up now along with his TP, so he can make 2 cross-map plays from top and bottom. Looks like Cloud9 is actually keeping it safe here as they get their push on. 2 kills for them so far has equaled a 1,000 gold lead on pretty much the exact people they wanted those kills to go through.
Very true. The mid lane matchup, which we haven't really touched on much, is going quite evenly. Yeah. Incarnation versus Goldenglue. 2 mid laners who've actually gone through a pretty nice road of improvement from the very start of the split. And Incarnation actually gaining the pressure advantage later on in this lane. We'll have to track High's Devour. He was able to complete it before that kill. So he is at 5 or 6 sated stacks. 5 right now, actually. Gonna hope to take this dragon down. There's a ward in the pit, though. They know they just took Orianna back. This would be a big 5 stacks towards Sated Devour, as well as the first one. He back
side to pressure this. Sneaky's just been following the waves in the bot lane, keeping Porpoise there, so we are going to get a little pressure for that dragon that High is trying to ward out and get cleaned up here. Looks like it's going to stay quite even, though. Not too much trouble for these guys. Cloud9's able to squeak the kills in. We just saw him nicely get that one onto Dodo. And they may go for a rinse and repeat on that lane. Looks like top lane for now, though. Balls and High gonna make some work up here after he takes Krugs, possibly. Very slow game. Cloud9 playing this one methodical. Don't want to get caught off by any kind of Shenol or something random if they just go in.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Devourer jungler. This is the point where Cloud9 was supposed to be slow playing the game, but even in doing so, they still pulled off a 1,000 gold differential at 10 minutes, which is quite substantial. They're in pretty good position for this game, all things considered.
This could be the flyover. Dragon's Descent's gonna clear the wall. The Shockwave goes out and locks High in immediately. He gets the smite down. They're not gonna be able to finalize the kill. That ultimate saved Goldenglue's hide.
Cleanse and Flash burned away from Goldenglue. High burned. He stacked his slows just to try and get as much damage down as possible.
Yeah.
Did not need the exhaust. He should have just trusted his Chilling Smite. So an exhaust kind of wasted there, but still the pressure advantage is very real. And High really wants to try and pull this dragon off, but the bottom lane probably needs to get a kill before they're able to do that move.
Looks like that might happen, chat. Porpoise is on his roam down. Taunt was used in that top lane, so Balls, no mana there. I was going to say he might actually have a chance to teleport down. Hit onto LemonNation. He tries to get movement speed out a bit of that shield. Oh! Freezes the body slam in place. Is it enough to save LemonNation? The Glacial Fisher back as well to try and trade back a bit of damage. High on the slow walk down is stopped as Goldenglue is also making his way to that position.
Yeah, nicely timed flash there by LemonNation, but also a timely gank by teammate. They need to apply pressure on these lanes sooner rather than later. Porpoise, even though we're talking about High needing to be the sated Devourer farmer, Porpoise has been the one farming more, which is kind of peculiar for a Gragas who's going Cinderhulk and an early Sightstone. Typically, Porpoise's focus should be on littering, invading with wards, shutting down the opponent farm, and ganking. But it's actually been a little bit inverted, and playstyle versus itemization isn't matching up for Porpoise on Gragas right now because he's playing a farm game with a control build, which isn't what you want to be doing.
I just want to see Porpoise explosive cast a Dragon's Descent in the fight. Let me see it. I think they're gonna make a break a fight. If they hold that or are able to headbutt High out. That Shyvana has just been providing so much for Cloud9 in the initiations. The whole team is on board with it, so teammate has to expect it's going to come out of nowhere once they get to this mid-game. Especially if Cloud9 feels they have a lead. They are just going to take it to you. Infinity Edge finished up for Sneaky now. Pretty far ahead, actually. Only 210 gold in the pocket of the end. So that kill and assist really shooting him forward in the item advantage.
Yeah, you're
Blade
right
of the
about
Rune King, very close for High as well. Kind of close.
Kind of close.
Kind of close.
Sitting on 450 gold, but he should be getting access to his gold pretty quickly if he can start on the farm game. The mid lane pressure is pretty immense here by Incarnation.
2v1ing.
Yeah.
Goldenglue low, hitting Porpoise as well. This is pretty much spelling Dragon if they got more damage onto Porpoise. See if High can now route the backside. He's going to be walking over some wards. Actually decide not to. Maybe Scuttle came up and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 might be able to snowball a couple of turrets in a row here, which could spike their gold lead pretty substantially and then transition into objective fights. It really is on Team 8 here to try and make a play and disrupt this pressure game that Cloud9 is playing right now. All Cloud9 seems to be doing, power clearing waves, getting a few defensive wards up, and having High actually do a little bit of gank pressure for the lanes. He's really just helping the lanes stay pushed, but it's allowing Cloud9 a lot of time to scale up, and it's also letting them grow a lead. This is somewhat similar to the way Cloud9 used to play, where their lanes would just shove all the time and were not necessarily punished.
Make little leads that don't seem like they have a huge impact on the game. They kind of just run away with them at the right moment. Very big item discrepancy here between most of the lanes. A needlessly large rod coming in from Incarnation, but he is not coming out of the lane. He's trying to get fights everywhere here. LemonNation going a little hard. Push back. See where they decide to go. Balls. Righteous Glory for him first. CaliTrlolz with the Spirit Visage. Used to see that quite a bit back in the day.
It's true.
A lot more Shen ultimates just to come out.
More Sunfire, too.
Yeah.
It actually kind of goes to show he's been getting somewhat heavily damaged by Balls in that top lane. Balls must be landing a lot of nice skill shots. That's how he got the turret pressure down in the first place. So CaliTrlolz needing a little bit of defensive capabilities against that early on.
Seems like it's working out. You can see they're just coin on coin in the top, fighting each other constantly. Their health bars aren't even moving on the sides. High going for Goldenglue. Dragon's Descent is up, so they have to be very careful in his presence. A lot of that pressure is just going to mean mid lane, and that's been a repeat return too. They haven't gotten the kill on Goldenglue, but every time High's just walk past mid, Incarnation's got more damage on the turret, and things are just kind of rolling forward without any pressure back towards them. Yeah. Now they can get these forward wards in that are already catching CaliTrlolz out. Looks like he's going to get a good clear on that, actually.
Just looking across the map at the turrets, the Cloud9 turrets are all pretty healthier than the Team 8 turrets. Obviously, there's already been 2 down. And now the Dragon, this is actually pretty huge. It's a good old 5 stacks towards Sata Devour when you control a major objective like Dragon or Baron. Puts him at 21. It's a little bit slower than his other Shyvana games, but it's not like Cloud9 needs him to transform it earlier. Kobe was talking about how Devour itself is actually a pretty efficient item. It's just that attack speed isn't something you want to rush on many champions. Shyvana, one of the few, thanks to the burnout applying more damage on auto attacks, where getting attack speed early can really help your damage. Why High is playing Sata Devour Shyvana.
Plus, it just feels good to be a dragon.
You clear the jungle so fast. And it allows you to pull off these other moves. So like in this somewhat dream scenario where your lanes are actually somewhat able to push and win by their lonesome, it's a great jungle pick.
Gotta walk in that brush. But there wasn't a ward for him to see. He had one. It's just off the pink ward he could have seen regularly. See if he dodges out of this. Yeah, he doesn't know what's on the other side of that wall. So High continues to play it safe, but still causing a little bit of trouble. This is CaliTrlolz out of lane, not doing too much. See if he actually calls Goldenglue up here. They actually look like they were going for something in the mid. Gonna be hard to kill Incarnation with Wild Growth on. And that would easily be used by him. Like you said, the turrets are pretty healthy. You're seeing that right here. See how Cloud9 actually moves to this. They're very slow to react on this one, as teammate just kind of pulled this one out of their hat. They're going to get a turret for it.
That's true. Well, there's a teleport coming in from the Maokai now from way downtown, and this is going to be a long-term flank engage.
Oh, CaliTrlolz gets taken. He's just lumbering through. I didn't think Balls was going to make it in time, but they do a nice shockwave. Stops it back. The arrow comes through to help out High. That's a Wild Growth onto the Dragon. He is going to be big, and he's going to try to protect his team. The hits coming over from Goldenglue do drop High, and they are looking to finalize some of these kills. If that finally goes on to Dodo, CaliTrlolz gets out by the skin of his teeth on this one. But that was a pretty good disengage coming in from teammate there for the engage as well.
I'd say it's a very good disengage by teammate. CaliTrlolz gets out by the skin of his teeth right there, and it transitions beautifully into a giant Goldenglue shockwave that actually turns into a death for High. This equalized the game a little bit because the teleport was also burned for Balls to get here, so the summoner deficit lies with Cloud9 here. High jumped over the wall and burned his exhaust on a fleeing target, so he didn't have exhaust for the ensuing 5v5 that erupts. Yes, Cloud9 comes in, but Nien was there before Sneaky. High really didn't do anything, so the fight could... I count this as a win for teammate. They lose their support versus a jungler, and now they have the teleport advantage.
That was big as well, to be able to take down High. At that time, he was over what he is, 1,000 gold ahead of Porpoise to about 2,000 gold, or at least 1.5. So to cut down High at that point was very, very big for Team 8. Still trying to get a few more kills under their belt. CaliTrlolz making sure he has mid lane cordoned off, so the rest of the team can go ahead, take blue, start denying resources on that side of Cloud9.
Yeah.
Getting a little crazy. Getting a little crazy. All right, arrows across. The fight from CaliTrlolz. This is where CaliTrlolz, however, gets himself into a crazy situation. Goldenglue, a very deep shockwave that nobody can get back to, unfortunately. But they're kind of, I think I can, kenning this situation. One person thinks they can, they fall in place. The next one backs out, another person thinks they can. Not enough communication to solidify a kill there.
Goldenglue is becoming incredibly threatening. Once he gets Rabadon's death cap, will be a power spike for teammate to try and take full control of this game. And they're getting things off of his nice shockwaves. That has been the turning point in a lot of this. The pressure has been broken by Cloud9 here because Goldenglue is so successfully harassing, and because CaliTrlolz's roams have been quite successful since they lost their other 2 turrets.
Said they weren't going to have a lot of damage, but they are controlling the way they're fighting these lanes enough for Nien to be on the outside. Something we also talked about before that's kind of double-lift-esque from him lately, where the team fights, he farms, and then he becomes a really big factor in that late game.
Goldenglue is continually landing these multi-man shockwaves. And it's somewhat of a symptom of the team compositions right now that this can happen. If you think of the way Cloud9 wants to team fight, a lot of times Lemon is barreling in with high and balls because they're getting speeded by Lulu. So that's 3 people in very close proximity to each other, or they're peeling back and Lemon is trying to babysit Sneaky. Either way, you're hitting multi-man shockwaves. It's very different than Incarnation's defeat on Orianna. Never mind, a fight.
Right, the choke point as well. CaliTrlolz looking to get across here onto balls, possibly, but he doesn't know what's on the other side of that wall, keeping him from the fight. They're going to walk into the pink ward. And looks like they have the vision they need now. A bit of a disengage there. Both teams respecting the power that can actually come out of these fights.
Yeah.
Not taking it fully.
Really showing some respect to the Orianna. I think High stole that, though. Goldenglue's out of mana, so teammate has to bail.
Oh, Porpoise not in a good spot, has to use explosive cask. This is what they've been trying to avoid. There's the arrow coming in. Is CaliTrlolz gonna take it all the way? He has to. Gets taken down as well, as the team could not help Porpoise get out of that situation.
And you cannot give this window to a Sated Devour Blade of the Ruined King Shyvana, because this Baron will evaporate as soon as they start on this, though. And Goldenglue is out of mana, so it's a 2v5 if they wanted to stop this. This is Baron for Cloud9.
That blue buff was so much bigger than we just thought to be stolen away by Cloud9. Really could have changed the fight with a ball delivery entry onto that, even to attempt to stop it. But now Cloud9 with the Baron 24 minutes in, one of the quicker ones we've really seen. They're going to be making some work happen with that. Goldenglue, get vision, the ball's really not going to be able to get in there to reach it enough over the smite, most likely.
Yeah, well, his smite is actually up yet again, so an easy objective secure for Cloud9.
Bada bing.
After all this Riv, Cloud9's definitely in position to get this 7th place in the LCS and push teammate into the promotion tournament. Just a poor decision, honestly, by teammate. Once the blue is stolen away, they have to concede. CaliTrlolz wanted to be able to save Porpoise, but it was really just a ninja suicide at that point. And it snowballed into so much. That is now 2 deaths instead of just 1 death into a Baron, into a Dragon. If CaliTrlolz saves his ultimate, there's a good chance that Cloud9 can't just turn and burn the Baron.
Well, they're doing everything perfectly if they want to start protecting Sneaky. 100% kill participation for him at 3-0-2, and he's actually going for more damage right away with his Ashe of BF Sword. After that, Phantom Dancer has been finished. He's going to be putting out some sting. The rest of Cloud9 playing these very safe, but enough control, just a few more shots, and the turret's down. Now already 25 minutes. We just had a very long game. To see Cloud9 at the front of teammates' base has to be worrisome for them.
They're just going to go for CaliTrlolz.
Turret's not there. It's a blur. The goggles, they do nothing. Oh, so close to flash. That was the jump and flash, though. Nien is stuck wherever he is placed, and that twisted advance is not going to let him go too much farther. High gets out of that one alive somehow. A few more hits to him can take down the Dragon, but it is not controlled enough. Explosive cast comes in to break up the fight, but really just spills all over the ground for the homies. It's going to be more teammate members going down. Now 3 to all members standing of Cloud9. They approach the base once again of Team 8.
Unreal that nobody on Cloud9 died in that fight, Riv. The power of the shields, Incarnation using them at just the right time to keep these people alive, and the lack of damage unless a pristine shockwave is landed by Goldenglue. All of that is on display right now. Inhibitor down, maybe more.
We said those last 2 picks did not provide too much damage in Shen and Alistar, and they're not finalizing these kills. We saw High walked out. Even an auto attack could have taken him down, but nobody was close enough. Another inhibitor turret in jeopardy of falling very fast.
No home guards.
He's got a flash. The taunt could be multiple members, but it is still just kind of held off. So the TP is down. That presence no longer there for them.
Yeah, they know they have a 4v5, but it needs to catch up. CaliTrlolz could have easily landed the multi-man taunt, but the taunt duration would have been up by the time his team was there, so he had to save it. Just barely missing on a lot of these plays for Team 8, and that's kind of the story of their split. A lot of just near misses. They've done it all. They've had a 5-dragon game. They were unable to close. They've had that game against...
Double 5?
They had a game against Gravity where they couldn't smite the 5th dragon because Blue kept stealing it. It's got to be a heartbreaker if either of these, like if any of these things throughout the season would have fallen in a way for Team 8 to win. They wouldn't even be in this situation to get placed in the promotion tournament. that has to be weighing on their minds now that they're down 8,000 gold in the tiebreaker match 4-7.
See this fight once again. A lot of credit to these teams as well. Some teams can't deal with changes, some do. Both of these teams had changes throughout the split and still fight here for 7.
Yes, one of the changes was Nien in that fight. He had a nice flash early on. High barely avoiding the shockwave. The fact that balls didn't die there is just ridiculous, and it's a heartbreak for teammate. Then he's able to re-engage with the Righteous Glory, which cleans up the kill that allows him to push the inhibitor. So many chain reactions in this game that are incredibly close for teammate, but end up just being remarkably in the favor of Cloud9.
Using those advantages very well, not allowing teammate to find any kink in the armor just yet. Cloud9 continuously pushes forward. Now with objective-free map, Baron and Dragon down, they can focus just on the turrets. This is going to mean Balls is in the bottom lane, calling a bit of pressure down. Who is going to be the one to go for that? I don't think teammate can really take any of these fights 4v4.
No way. They might not even be able to take a fight 5v4, depending on who is missing.
That's true.
Unless they get a very clean catch. Trick here is Locket is completed by LemonNation on support, which, by the way, is a stark contrast to the way they were playing at the start of the split, where Meteos had to build Locket on every single jungle tank. Now LemonNation is playing some tankier supports, and he's also building Aegis, which is something he never did with Meteos in the lineup as of recently. And High is then carrying more damage items, and he's the one who was able to duel. Taste the Devour right there.
Taste it! Man, what damage. 225 High, 119 CS. Pretty gigantic right now for the Dragon. And Sneaky still undead, has not fallen down just yet. Perfect game for him and LemonNation. Actually, a lot of the Cloud9 members have been able to keep themselves up on the map, allowing them to create continuous pressure for any of the chances that teammate has here. Really, they can't even get any wards to stick outside of their base. It's becoming very, very hard to even hold these inhibitor turrets.
Yeah. Dragon and Baron are the realistic cooldowns right now, but because the middle inhibitor is exposed, Cloud9 can definitely output a bit of pressure. Unless they get really aggressive, I don't expect much more to happen, but they do have a pretty big lead. I think the smart play would be for them to wait on the Dragon and Baron timers and play around that vision. Since they know teammate has been confined to their base for so long, it is impossible for them to have coverage that deep into the map where Baron and Dragon are placed. This should just be a stall tactic for Cloud9 to make sure the teammate stays contained in their base.
And even there, if they wanted to get quick coverage, smited away the Wolf Spirit, they're going to know everything that's happening once that Baron is up and teammate tries to walk their way up to the objective. Dragon number 3, completely uncontested across the board for these for Cloud9. A little bit of trouble in the early game, but they were able to correct it immediately. It almost didn't seem like they were behind at all.
Yeah.
They were just able to kind of say, oh, that's not happening the way we wanted to. Let's fix it. And it worked out quite well. Making sure CaliTrlolz couldn't get out of the lane. Small pushes from Incarnation on the Goldenglue with High, and all the lanes seemingly just got that edge with High's 2 present ganks to the bot lane.
Everything is going according to plan.
Yep.
This game now for Cloud9. The definite opposite of what happened against TDK yesterday for Cloud9, where nothing went according to plan. And they were run over by a whole bunch of crazy-looking champions. But now, it's the vision control. They are re-sweeping through with upgraded trinkets and pink wards. The name of the game here, Cloud9 knows how quickly they can take out the Baron, but they also know how far ahead they are. So they are hoping for a team fight, first and foremost.
You can see they're taunting Porpoise into a fight here. Boss is like, fight me, let's go. Porpoise knows it's ill-advised at this point, and nice headbutt for High on the backside, but that splits up the team a little bit, and he may be able to get to a target he wants to now. The explosive cast and the crowd control has been used. High is going to wait for this to wear off, probably fly over the wall and hit a priority target. He's still holding it. Cloud9 is not even using the majority of their ultimates to win this fight right now. They're just outright winning this fight with the lead that they have. CaliTrlolz not going to make it far. He gets taken down. High finally ults towards the end, and that's going to be a Goldenglue. That's going to be the ace, and Cloud9 in the base.
It's a minion wave that is close to an exposed inhibitor and a 5v0 ace. Riv, I feel like Cloud9 has 7th place.
Looks like they've locked it 33 minutes in. A very fast Baron to start this game off, and saying Cloud9 came out strong. They did not lose anything in the tank, and it looks like they are going to be able to grab that 7th place in 32 minutes. Cloud9 take down Team 8.
What a dominating performance, a throwback to the Cloud9 of old to guarantee that they stay in the LCS for next split.
Yep.
In addition to that, it also maintains their championship points and gives them a chance
Yep.
at Worlds.
At World Domination.
Part 6 of their 6-step plan.
Part 6 of the 6-step plan can now be put into action. One of the longest steps, though. The biggest hill to climb here.
I feel like you need some sub-steps in there. Just saying. Either way, this day for Cloud9, what a roller coaster of emotions. This weekend, losing to TDK, and then defeating their longtime rivals, Team Solo Mid. They're not facing each other in the finals this split for the first time in 4 splits in North American LCS in a row. But they still had a very important game against Team Solo Mid, where they came out on top, dashing TSM's hopes of a first-round bye, but giving them a chance to secure their LCS spot.
Looking at the scoreboard right now as well, I know you guys can't see it, but Only High has the 2 deaths. Very reminiscent of an old scoreboard that Cloud9 would have. Sneaky no kills, balls, or no deaths I should say, balls, no deaths. Something in that sense you would usually see. Very reminiscent of those play styles where they just control the fight so well and get out immediately. We saw how close they were getting out of these fights.
Yeah.
And CaliTrlolz talked a bit about it before, wanted to leave the team in the right spot.
Yep. Well, we'll see what ends up happening in the promotion tournament for Team 8. They now have to immediately prepare for that. Cloud9 will have a long hiatus. They will not know until the NALCS playoffs begin whether or not they can play in the regional qualifier based on the seeding.
Right.
But they're going to be feeling good, whereas Team 8 is going to have to swallow this one and just continue towards the promotion tournament to try and stay in the
There are
LCS.
some scary challenger teams making an impact right now. These guys are definitely going to have their work cut out for them. Cloud9 can continue to look forward here, how to continue to beat some of the top teams around here.
All smiles for Cloud9.
Yeah. Feeling good. I'm sure
What a
Incarnation
relief.
feeling great not great, but way better at the end of the season with his performance. He stepped up very big in the mid lane in solo situations and regular. We 2v1 on Orianna in previous weeks, a few push-ins here, playing on his Lulu, which we hadn't seen him on yet.
Yeah.
So
It started against Team Dignitas in Week 7. It was kind of the first good Incarnation game we saw. That was 4-0-12 on Ori.
Yeah.
That snowballed into an Ahri game. And surprisingly, the Lulu and the Orianna, he's been a very, very strong laner on, which was supposed to be one of Incarnation's greatest strengths coming into the LCS. It just took him 7.5 weeks to be able to act on what should have been one of his innate talents, and now it's kind of coming through, which bodes well for Cloud9's future.
Working very well with the team now. All right, let's check in with our analyst desk to get their take on Cloud9's victory.
Thank you, gentlemen. And I'd like to start by addressing the point that Jap brought up in Champion Select, which was that Team 8 was targeting some of the key factors, or just rather some of the factors, of the winning formula that Cloud9 had established here at the end of the split in banning away the Karma, picking up the Tristana, and the Orianna. So the question was raised, will Cloud9 be able to answer this, or will this kind of throw them off their game? Well, it seems, to some degree, that they do have another strategy they are able to run.
Yeah, I mean, Sneaky got Ashe very comfortable on that champion, a long-time Cloud9 champion, and their bottom lane had great kill participation. This game was a good example of Cloud9 team play. LemonNation actually ended the game only missing out on one of the kills. Same for Balls as well. He had good teleports in on his Maokai, which has been another really Cloud9 top lane champion for them. So they were still able to bring it together. The team play is definitely there. And High being on a champion like Shyvana that makes jungling very easy allows him to concentrate more on shot calling, I think, because Shyvana, you have to think very little about jungling. You just smash everything that's in front of you and AoE burn it down. So.
All right, well, now let's talk about what this means, because this game did have massive implications. Cloud9 now finishes in 7th place, which means, one, they're guaranteed back into the LCS in the spring split of 2016. Perhaps greater than that, they get to keep their 70 championship points. Now, as we look forward, what happens here is at the end of the playoffs, one team will qualify automatically, given the win at the playoffs. The second team will qualify based on championship points, which means there's 5 teams left in the NALCS that have championship points. 4 of those teams go into the gauntlet. So Cloud9's 70 points only needs to be greater than one other team's points in order to make it to the gauntlet. So there's a very high likelihood that they actually do make it into the gauntlet. Given that, given this victory, given the fact that they have 5 weeks now to prepare for the gauntlet, what does this mean for a Cloud9 team?
Well, it means they get way more time to work around High as a jungler and shot calling. He gets a month plus to actually work on his jungling, improve his pool, see what style he wants to have on the team, and dictate that. So we've seen in this last few weeks that coming together is good. They need to diversify their playbook a little bit for the gauntlet because you go through every stage of it against a different team playing a best of, and they're going to be at the very bottom. And they have to work their way.
They would have to win all the way through. I think it's also good that they actually have Meteos still on good terms with the team because High can still learn a lot from Meteos. I think they should have those two work closely during their time off and in preparation for this, especially because next patch, it's a huge Elise patch, and they've got the original North American Elise player there sitting on the bench.
Right, so make use
of him.
Right, exactly. Using
at least
Meteos
talk
as a
to him. At
resource.
least get some training on the champion.
Right. Well, we'll see if he can. We'll see if he can make those adaptations as he has favored some of the more aggressive devourer jungles like Shyvana. Now then for the side of Team 8 though, this is a huge blow to them at the end of the season. We do have to touch on it. It was mentioned before as well that CaliTrlolz, his hope was to at least keep Team 8 in the NALCS. Now they're fighting for their lives as they move down to the promotion tournament. And this was a game that actually had a few fights that were very close to going either way. We saw many times Cloud9 getting out of fights with 4 members in blinking red health. That's a huge blow to Team 8 to have gone out this way.
Yeah, Team 8 got slapped around a little bit this entire season. They had to bring on a new AD carry. They had to bring on a new mid laner without a whole lot of preparation. And to be able to come to this point, almost make it and be secure, I feel like they've been improving kind of bit when they brought in new people. It's just not ideal situation. Very, very minor improvements. They get some time. They get some time to look at promotion tournament. And Cali, if he's going to stay for that promotion tournament, which I assume he is, because his goal was to keep the team in the LCS, they still have that time. That's pretty much all I could say about it is they've improved a tiny bit.
Yeah, well, the good news is that they do also have some time before that promotion tournament to get things back in order. There's still more action coming up with our next bout, Team Impulse versus Gravity in a fight for 3rd place. So stay with us.
Getting the last ounces of effort ready to leave it all on the Rift against Cloud9. But they do a nice shockwave, stops it back. The arrow comes through to help out High. That's a wild growth onto the Dragon. This is what they've been trying to avoid. There's the arrow coming in. Is CaliTrlolz going to take it all the way?
Shen. Oh shit. Someone kill Shen. Okay, we're good. Push.
I got Rexus.
Go.
Goldenglue, if you can.
Get Ori.
She cleanse.
Okay, nice turn.
Dominating performance, a throwback to the Cloud9 of old to guarantee that they stay in the LCS for next split.